So it's always confusing to know whether or not Dave Rubin is claiming to be a liberal or whether or not he's claiming to have left the left, because you can't do both. So Dave Rubin, and for a long time there were a lot of morons, and there still are morons who are dumb tools who are like, hey, Jordan Peterson and Dave Rubin are centrist, bro. They're just not, caving into either side. That's why they're so cool. But truly speaking, and Dave Rubin's admitted this, is that he's a conservative, he's a libertarian, he's some mix of that. Classical liberalism, uber laissez-faire economic ideology, which puts you in the libertarian/conservative alignment. Now, I guess he was talking to Tim Pool. Tim Pool says that he is in support of a progressive tax as well as a minimum wage. Now, of course, in the United States, the debate raging is not whether or not there should be a minimum wage, because that's just, if you don't have a minimum wage in place and you don't have insanely strong unionization, what you're going to end up having is just people's labor being exploited and people living in horrible conditions that we do not want as a society. The question is, what should the minimum wage be, not whether or not it should exist. And it's a very radical ideology or radical position to have, that the minimum wage shouldn't exist. So what we're going to look at here is Dave Rubin is actually going to say he doesn't agree with any of those things. Check it out.
Further than you.
That's more of a libertarian thing.
I'm for a progressive tax.
Yeah.
I'm in favor of a minimum wage. Both of these things come with caveats.
Yeah. I'm completely against both of those.
Yeah,
I believe. You can go on the lefty run now if you want.
Right. The last liberal, Dave Rubin, doesn't support a minimum wage or a progressive tax. The man supports a flat tax as well as no minimum wage. No minimum wage. So what you're saying is this guy's a liberal. So because there will still be morons on Twitter who claim that he's a liberal, and Barry Weiss claimed that he was a liberal. This guy's that's not even like a moderate conservative position, because I don't know how much of the Republican Party says there should be no minimum wage. I would venture to say it'd be a small percentage, but I really don't know. Someone can let me know if there's polling on that. But the point here being is, that's a very radical ideology. That's not like, I'm a conservative dog, we just need to keep the minimum wage at $7.25, and we need to have less economic regulations, and even a flat tax, I would say, is pretty far. But that's not as far as having no minimum wage, although, again, that is pretty far still. Like, you're a radical right-winger at that point. You're a crazy lunatic right-winger at that point is what you are. And so for any idiot who still claims that he's a liberal, shut the fuck up, because you're fucking wrong, and stop being a massive doofus who somehow believed up until this point that he was a lib-cuck. No chance, dude. And so here's what he'll always say. He'll go, I'm a pro-choice, anti-death penalty gay dude, and he says that in response to people claiming he's a conservative, as if being, and by the way, he's basically flipped on the pro-choice position now, pretty much, because he got coerced into it by Ben Shapiro. And just because you have tiny pockets of agreement with the left wing does not make you left wing. So if I am pro-life, but I am for a progressive tax, for a 70% marginal tax rate, am I a conservative? Fuck no, I'm not. Okay? So don't give me that nonsense. And some idiots will throw in like, oh yeah, he's for single-payer healthcare. No, he's not. That's false. He's no longer, I don't even know what his position is anymore. I'm sure he just wants free market now. But remember when he was on the David Pakman show, he was asked whether or not he supported single payer, and he describes his ideal system, which he describes Obamacare. So he doesn't even know anything about healthcare. You probably shouldn't take his opinion very seriously on healthcare. But this is for any doofus who thinks that Dave Rubin is still a liberal. But also I want to say that this is a very, very radical libertarian ideology to hold.